Hello everyone, today we here at Game Information Station will be covering Black Mesa, the acclaimed fan remake of Half-Life, which, like the original, is a first-person shooter with a focus on single-player gameplay and linear storytelling. For this playthrough, we've only covered the first few levels, from Black Mesa Inbound to the first section of Blast Pit. Originally released in September of 2012 as a mod based on Half-Life 2 Episode 2's version of the source engine, Black Mesa has since gone to be added to the official Steam store. And with this, it began receiving a slew of content updates that added, changed, and overhauled a number of the game's features. From the variety of enemies encountered, small level changes, and most recently and importantly, a completely new take on the last 4 levels of Half-Life, set on the border world known as Zen, which added a few extra hours of gameplay in. Set in the early 2000s, Black Mesa scientist Dr. Gordon Freeman clocks in for work at the titular research facility set to receive test labs, ready to conduct a routine experiment that goes horribly wrong. Pretty soon, he's forced to fight and survive against hordes of invading alien creatures, and later members of his own country's military, as he tries to find a way to solve this looming crisis. Compared to the original 1998 game, Black Mesa feels much more grounded and realistic, which is the art style direction that the developers at the Crowbar Collective have gone for. Scientists and security personnel look, act, and feel like real people. The United States Marines trying to kill Freeman look, act, and respond like real Marines would. And the Zen aliens now come off as even creepier and horrifying than they ever were. The Black Mesa research facility itself, thanks in no small part to the source engine, now looks and feels like an actual top-secret government facility, complete with more sensible architecture and compliance to building standards in the form of railings and signs. That said, there were a number of things that were a bit frustrating, especially with regards to gameplay. For one, the Vortigons, which are common enemies, can attack much faster now and will do more damage, potentially making it somewhat harder for beginners to process. The Marines, who also become common enemies as soon as you encounter them, can easily reduce Freeman's HP bars to 0 in a few bursts of gunfire or grenades. Fortunately, these frustrations can be mitigated after learning their attack patterns and knowing which weapons to use against them. In terms of shooting, Black Mesa feels very much like the official Half-Life entries that came before it, appropriately using elements from both Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, and in some cases, such as with regards to the flashlight and sprinting mechanics, are massive improvements, as the Crowbar Collective has opted to remove the frustrating limits to both, allowing for limitless flashlight use and the ability to sprint anywhere and everywhere. If you're a fan of classic first-person shooters, science fiction themed works, or are just a fan of Valve and the Half-Life games, then Black Mesa is definitely the kind of game for you. What are your preferred FPS titles and what other games would you like us to cover? Let us know in the comments down below. Until then, this is Game 8 Information Station, signing off.